Hey guys, and welcome back to me and my BMX, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to air a quarter pipe. This video will hopefully make you a lot more confident in riding skate parks, and it will open up so many more lines for you and just being able to use all the ramps at the skate park. So the first thing when wanting to air a quarter pipe is you've got to be able to carve it, carving up, around and down. You want to find yourself a nice 4 or 5 foot quarter pipe or half pipe. So do you want to carve left or do you want to carve right? Remember, if your right foot is forward, you want to be carving left, and if your left foot forward, you want to be carving right. So what is carving? Carving is when you go up the ramp at an angle and do a big semicircle. The wider you carve it, the easier it's going to be. I wouldn't recommend going straight up the quarter pipe on your first go. If you go straight up, it's going to be really hard to turn and come back down. Whereas if you take it wide and do a semicircle, you don't have to turn too much. So the more times you actually practice carving a ramp, you'll then figure out how to pump. Pumping is when you put your legs into your bike on the way up, as you turn and push them down on the way down. This creates speed. Pumping is a skill you'll use forever. You'll use it in everyday riding. As soon as you hit a ramp, you naturally pump it. That way you don't have to pedal, and it makes your riding so much more smoother and more efficient. A mini ramp is the perfect place to do this. You can then practice your calves and also practice your pumping every time you go up the ramp. Theoretically, as you pump harder, you should get higher and higher each time. Just make sure you don't go too high and go out of the coping. I've seen that happen before. Now that you're carving the quarter pipe great, it's time to get into the air. So you need to be able to bunny hop already to do an air. So if you can't bunny hop, go and watch my bunny hop video. So now you're going round, you're carving and you're pumping really hard. Now's the time to jump into the air. And as you get to the peak of the height you're going to go on the ramp, you want to do a bunny hop. Remember to keep carving really wide. The more you're carving and doing big circles, the less you have to bunny hop and turn in the air. If you go straight up, you're going to have to do nearly a full 180 to come down. So at the start, keep it wide, keep carving lots, and then it's just really a bunny hop. Don't forget to pump up the ramp before the bunny hop, and as you land the bunny hop, push into your bike on the way down. You want to keep your body weight very central on the bike, if anything, slightly over the front wheel. This will stop you looping out. If you do find yourself looping out, use your back brake. So now that you're jumping in the air on the ramp, it's time to hit the coping for the first time. This will help you get out of the ramp. You do this exactly the same as you was doing before. Go up the ramp, pump up. As your front wheel gets to the coping, let it hit the coping, and then you pull off of it as you would a normal air. Remember, you can keep carving it super wide as well. As you get more confident in doing an air, you can start to carve less. Remember, when you carve less, you have to spin more. So now your front wheel is getting out of the ramp using the coping. It's time to get both wheels out of it. So to get out the coping with 2 wheels, you've got to hit the coping with your back wheel now. So as you hit it with your front, you keep on going until your back hits. As your back hits, you use the coping to pull off of it, like a normal air. If the ramp is mellow, you want to pull hard. If it's steep, you don't want to pull too hard. Unless you're wearing a vert ramp, which you have to push over the coping, I wouldn't worry too much. You've rode the same ramp for a while now, so you know how hard to pull. When you're airing out of the ramp, you want to lean slightly over the front wheel. This will get your nose and your front end down, which will allow you to catch as much transition as you can. This will keep your speed and allow you to do loads of laps. If you'll find your casing on the ramp, that's when your back wheel lands on the top instead of getting into the transition. It means you've got to pull off of it harder. You've got to bunny hop harder. Use your legs, get into the bike and pull with your arms and jump out. You don't want to be landing on the top of the ramp, you want to be landing back in the ramp. If you're still casing, maybe go to a slightly bigger ramp where it's easier. You want to let the coping do the work. let the coping help you. And vice versa, if you're landing flat all the time, you're pulling way too hard. That means you're probably getting into your bike and really pulling. Just relax a little bit. The key is to land as smooth as you can every time. This will make it a much smoother ride and it will just feel better. Now go do this on lots of different ramps. That way you can work out what's best for you to pull on each individual ramp. It will make your riding that much more versatile. Once you've learnt to air, you can then start to put tricks in it, or you can just rip quarters as high as you want. This is a crucial part of your riding, so go out there and get your air on.